All right, man, we're live.
Okay, we are live, and I'm just making sure that everything, the embed code is working on my side. Let's see. There we go. All right, working fine. Hey, everybody, what's up? This is Chris Burfield. I'm filling in for Dr. Tabor Smith tonight on the Ask Dr. Zaino show, and we have got an excellent show for you tonight. We've got some questions from doctors all over the country. And Dr. Zaino, how are you doing tonight?
What's going on, Chris Burfield?
It's going good, man. It's going real good. Life couldn't be better.
So let's start before we get into this, because we just kind of talking about it before. So I've been practicing 10 years, a little bit over. And when my wife and we were getting ready to practice, when it came to eBay, I got most of my office started on eBay when eBay was good. And then, we saw these different chiropractic things on eBay, and it was always like really the tech savvy doctors, so it was like, Dr. Damon Popovic's at C300 a week, I got all that stuff there, and you had a lot of stuff there. So, I mean, you were one of really so when it comes to technology, what's crazy about technology and trends is like, we could talk about eBay 10 years ago. It was great. I mean, you did great. I got all your product, all of them, the waiting room DVDs and everything like that. They were awesome. And,
right.
And you sent the CDs. But what's amazing is as technology advanced, you stayed up with it. And number two, you knew when trends came and when trends go. So right now, eBay, I mean, it probably wouldn't be on the top of your list. Probably, I know you got more, right?
Exactly.
Right? Like so right now, and what I'm saying this for is like, if I want to start something, say, well, back 10 years ago, I got this DVD from Chris Burfield. So I'm going to put something on eBay and see how it goes. It's like, it's already the ice ages. So it's so important what you have done, and you have stayed, not only you stayed at and ahead of the game, like you're ready with the trends and with technology to really leverage chiropractic and getting the word out. And the worst thing anybody could do is be stubborn to say, well, I'm not into that stuff, or I'm going to just go out and just teach the principle. But with all the social media and how it changed the world, it really has changed the world and how people communicate and connect. Like the other, today I was telling my wife, I'm like, you would not have at the gym, you would not know how many people were taking selfies today. They have cameras that are like attached to the squat rack. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I'm like, where were these people before? It's like, and my wife's like, well, the reason why they do it is because, it's significance. This is an area of their life of social media. They send that picture to a couple of their friends and they get a comment, they get attention. And it's really, it's a source of very significance for that person. And so everything has changed socially. And I think it's so important. And, I feel that's an area that I'm currently weak on, because I just didn't stay up with it as far as the amount of potential that's being lost if we're not really on that trend to really be able to get our message out to as many people as possible. When it comes to chiropractic, as you said 10, 12 years ago, and you said now, like every single person counts, and never underestimate how far reaching something you say, think, or do today could influence the lives of millions tomorrow. And I really believe if BJ Palmer was alive today, he'd be hammering social media. Like, I mean, that's what he would do. I mean, that's what he did back then. What did he have? What did he buy? He bought a friggin' radio station, right? He bought a radio station, a newspaper station. Like he bought media, books, because that's what they had back then. So I appreciate what you do. And I'm sure everybody, people think they're doing it to a level, but I know that you're ahead of the game when it comes to it. So I just want to say I appreciate it, and that Chris has been influencing my life and other people's lives for over a decade in so many different areas. CA training, I mean, really top-notch stuff. So I was telling Chris, I'm like, I wish I had CAs like you, or office managers. So Chris has multiple skills, right? So if you have one skill and you combine it with another skill, it creates something magnificent. So, the more skills you have that you can combine, you become unique, and you raise your own personal value of what you have to offer. So that's my praise to Chris,
Yeah, for sure. And this is something that, what you just mentioned right now, the attention span is right here, right? It's on the phone. Matter of fact, like I drove to the grocery store about an hour before we went live here. And on the way over, I'm driving, I'm looking around, and like, you know, people as they're driving have their face buried in this thing, right? So this is where the attention is. And from a marketing standpoint, this is where you want to be. You want to be on this little device in front of people as often as you possibly can. And one of the things I talk about with some of the clients that I work with is, you know, what you want to do is you want to build a propaganda machine. You know, and sometimes people, when they think of propaganda, they have this thought process of, oh, that's bad. Propaganda is deceitful, and it's, you know, it's about lies. No, it's not. Actually, propaganda is neutral. It's neither bad nor good, but it is extremely powerful, and it's a powerful tool that you can use to get your message in front of people. And that message could be deceitful, or that message could be the truth. And Big Pharma knows this. And Big Pharma has been using propaganda for decades and decades to brainwash the people into their way of thinking. And the chiropractor needs to do that same thing, but with the truth. So, you know, it's about, you know, using video, using information graphics, you know, making connections on social media, and using these tools that have been given to us. Like I was just telling you right before we went live, I jumped on this tool that Facebook just made available to everybody called Facebook Live. And you can go into your status update. And when you go to make a status update, there's a little button down on the right-hand corner, a little icon. It looks like a little person with radio waves coming out of them. You can click that button and you can go live to everybody that's following you on social media. And the cool thing about it is that Facebook is favoring it right now. So they put it right at the top of the news feed. So if you have 2,000 friends on Facebook and you do a Facebook Live, you are center of attention. You are on stage because nobody else is doing it right now. And this is one of the things I talk about with some of my clients is like, hey, you know, it's like, the thing is like, nobody's using these platforms the way they should be. I spoke at Epoch, St. Louis a few weeks ago, and I asked the room, I was like, hey, how many of you are using social media? There was about 40 doctors in the room. Actually, there's 40 people, 3/4 of them were doctors, the rest were CAs. But I was like, how many of you are using social media and using video to get your message out there to the masses? And literally 4 people raised their hand. And I was just like, I mean, I actually took a step back because I wasn't expecting it to be that low. And I was shocked. And I was like, wow. I'm like, man, we've got some work to do. And, you know, Big Pharma's out there grinding 24/7, 365 with their message. You know, the time that you spend inside your office walls with your patients, that, you know, 15 minutes a visit, 3 days a week or whatever it might be, or if it's, you know, if they're a wellness patient, it's even less time. You've got to be using these tools to communicate to them so that you can continue to strengthen your tribe and indoctrinate them into the truth, if that makes sense.
Oh, it absolutely does. And I think a lot of times, you know, we don't do it because we're unfamiliar with it, or we think, and we're just kind of doing it like we just don't have a system. We just, or it's reactive, you know, reactive social media, where we're just kind of doing it just to kind of do it and say, you know, checked off the list. But it's not really, I know we see it more as fun versus, no, this could be a very important way of filling dinners. You know, we do the dynamic dinners, or, well, I mean, whatever it may be, or like you said, just building a tribe and creating a relationship with thousands of people, whether they're in your office or not, on all types of things. Like that's what we're doing here at Ask Dr. Zaino. It's like, you know, I want to build a relationship with everybody who's out there the best way we can by making it live, making people engaged, asking questions, whether it's relative to practice or life. And, you know, because it's coming time where people want to know what people are doing, and they want to build a relationship on a different level. And I really just think it's just, you know, we have, like, I can tell you right now, well, I have lack of knowledge. My one thing is, well, you know, I have lack of knowledge on doing everything. And number 2, my excuse would be, well, I just don't have someone to do it for me. You know, that's another thing. Well, you know, I want someone to do it for me, because that's kind of in the path of my career. It's like, I was telling my wife when we first started practice, it was bootstraps, you know, we got the minimum we could, we had to do all the work, we did all the screens, but now, you know, later on, you know, I can afford to delegate and hire and do this stuff. So it's like, that's my other thing. Well, then I need someone to do it. And so you get caught up in that. It's like, well, back burner, you know?
Right. And that's a good point. And we do have a question here, and I'm going to get to that in just a second. But that's a good point. So the thing is, like, if you're not going to do it, then you have to hire somebody else that will, because it's a must. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to do it. You have to be present here. If not, then you're just not going to grow, in my personal opinion. You're not going to grow to the level that you really want to grow at, unless you're getting in front of people and getting that attention. I say it all the time. It's like, I know doctors that will hire CAs that, will sit there and answer the phone and schedule people and play on their Facebook the rest of the day. And, they'll pay them $1,500 or $2,000 a month to do that. But when it comes to hiring someone to do their marketing, they get all sketchy. And it's just like, oh, I don't know, that's kind of a risk, but it's like, it's something you have to do. And one of the questions we got here, Dr. Zaino, is from Dr. Emil, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Toki, it's Tocci, or Toshi maybe. He wants to know, do you suggest we set up a green screen with lighting to make videos? And what is the best way to get videos out? Would you mind if I answer that for him, Dr. Zaino?
Yeah, that'd be a good one, because you rock that one.
So as far as, using a green screen, I would absolutely not. Here's the thing, like, we are past the era of, I guess, how should I put this, like, a fakeness, right? So like, if you got a green screen behind you and all that stuff like that, like, that's old technology. It's like 2008. What I'm finding that's working really well with my clients is just being in the elements. And, whatever your message might be, and I'll kind of give you an example here. I have a client from Wake Forest, and there's 4 things that he loves to teach his patients, which is chiropractic and the nervous system, right? And, innate intelligence. But he also likes to teach people about nutrition, mindfulness, and movement. So just to give you an example, like, one day he loves to surf. So he went to the beach and he was surfing on these waves and he was getting knocked over. And he said, you know what, I'm going to make a quick video. So he's on the beach and he's holding his iPhone up and he's just kind of doing it from a selfie point of view. And he's like, hey, this is Dr. Joe. I was just out here surfing on the weekend here in Raleigh. And, I was getting knocked down. And every time I got knocked down, I kind of laugh and kind of like just, wave it off and then get back on the board and go surf some more. And then I get knocked down again. And I just kind of laugh it off and get back on the board and just keep going at it. And he's like, isn't that how we should just approach life in general? We're going to take some hard hits. We're going to get knocked down, but it's important for us to just like get back up on the board and keep moving forward and just laugh it off, and it was just like this little 2-minute video segment where it was just something that he was teaching people about having proper mindset. And we recorded that video and we uploaded it to Facebook and it just went nuts. Like, people absolutely loved it. We posted it on the blog. We emailed it to his patient database and sent him over to the blog to watch that video. And it was just simple stuff like that with his iPhone out in the elements. He did one in the middle of Whole Foods one time. He was in the middle of Whole Foods recording himself talking about, giving some nutritional advice. And it was kind of funny because you could see people in the background looking at him like, who is this guy recording in the middle of Whole Foods? But it was the realness of it that made people love it and share it so much. So I would not use a green screen. I would go get yourself a selfie stick and, just record yourself wherever. It could be in your office. It could be at Whole Foods. It could be at the mall. It could be in your car. So that would be my first tip of advice. And the second tip is, what's the best way to get them out there, to get these videos out there? Right now with Facebook video ads, you can get video ads for a penny a view. So you can get 10,000 people in your community to watch your video for $100. So you would record the video and then you would upload it into your Facebook ads account and you would just set up an ad and target people around your zip code and put that video out. I have a client from New Jersey that did one at Christmas time where he just recorded a video. He was in his office and he said, hey, I know a lot of you are going to be wrapping Christmas presents this week. So I just want to give you a tip on how you can prevent some injuries this Christmas, this week when you're wrapping presents, because I know a lot of you are going to be using poor posture when you're doing it. And he kind of demonstrated like how you were, people wrapping presents, they were sitting on the floor all hunched over. And then he showed like how you would get like a little table and sit upright, make sure it's like, your knees are, your knee level, whatever. And then he was like, anyway, it was like a 2-minute video clip. We ran a Facebook ad to it. So many people shared it in the community that that drove the cost of the ad down. We got 34,000 people to watch that video for $60. And it's just creating branding. You know, it's like, you know, it wasn't about, hey, come into my office right now, but it was just something that he did, an act of goodwill for the community, saying, hey, look, I'm concerned about, you know, your posture this holiday season. And here's a tip that might help prevent, you know, some injuries to your spine, sort of thing. So, and it was just, but it was just those things like that, you know, when you use Facebook ads, you can get massive exposure. Like I have clients that we run video testimonials in the news feed because no other chiropractor is doing it, Dr. Zaino. Like nobody's doing it. So like, you know, I know you've got, what do you have, like 1,000 or something like that, video testimony? Yeah. You know, it's like they're sitting there on YouTube. You could take some of those and actually create video ads that stream in the news feed of people in and around the Woodlands. And, you know, every day they're seeing 3 or 4 different testimonials of your patients rotating in their news feed. I live in McKinney, Texas. We have about 180,000 people here. And to date, I have yet to see a single chiropractor running an ad. I've yet to see a single chiropractor running a video or a blog post or any piece of content in my news feed. So if you're a chiropractor watching this, those Facebook ads can create that propaganda machine that I was talking about, where you're putting out content, you're putting out patient testimonials, you're putting out content videos of you giving tips and advice on health and wellness and chiropractic, blog posts. And you can keep that stuff rotating in the news feed. You can do Facebook Live and appear at the top of the news feed for everybody to see. That's how I would get those videos out there.
That was awesome. See, again, you know, and you know, if you don't know these things, you're guessing. You know, I mean, I'm thinking right now. So, you know, I don't want anybody to do that's watching this to say, well, okay, well, you know, I'll just kind of do it sporadically because it's got to be consistent. 2, and maybe I'll run a killer ad, which is, you know, that's like so 20 years ago, and you know, and do mishmash of stuff like that. And you know, and you will notice, and a lot of doctors like, I don't know what's going on. I just don't seem to be as effective as I was. And I'm like, well, what you do, and you start to see that what they were doing is still great, but it's getting outdated. It's getting, you know, like you said, a 2-minute video versus, you know, I would, you know, put 30, 40 minutes, you know, like talks that were 34 minutes, but it's like, even now I know when I'm on YouTube or I see a video, if that doesn't catch my attention in a couple seconds, I'm out, you know, or something like that. So there's so many important things. It's like you have less time to get their attention and everybody's fighting for their attention. So it's not like a blog used to be. You used to get away with doing a blog once every 2 weeks or once a month. Now it's almost a daily thing. You see people, I follow a bunch of people, you know, they literally film a day in the life every day. They somehow edit it and get it posted with high quality on a daily or 48-hour basis. And it's just like, you know, they're working their tails off, but for that work and diligence, they have huge followings, you know, 20, 30, 40, 500,000 subscribers. And this is how you build that tribe.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, one of the things that I can tell you too, from a video perspective, one of the best things that I've seen work is telling the story, telling the chiropractic story, but in the sense that you tell your patient's stories. And I'll give you just a quick example. I got a client in Georgia. He's an upper cervical doc, and they did a video. It was 2 minutes, and it was on this 13-year-old little girl that came in their office who had been suffering with migraine headaches for the last 6 years. And she would get the migraines so bad, and she would get them a couple times a week, and she would get them so bad that she would black out. And then when she woke up, she couldn't even recognize her parents. And she had been suffering with this for 6 years, and she had been on all kinds of medication, all kinds of doctors, and they just got to a point where they were like, you know, she's gonna have to live with this because we don't know what's causing it. You know, here's some drugs, and this is how you're gonna have to live your life, you know. And she was referred into their office, and he's just telling this story. And he said she was referred to the office. We did an exam. We found the top bone in her atlas was out of alignment, putting pressure on the brainstem, the vertebral arteries, and the nerves, and it was causing her migraines. When we began adjusting her and removing that interference, she healed. And now she spent the last 9 months migraine headache free. And that story, we put it on Facebook and we ran an ad to it just a couple of months ago, and it has nearly 80,000 views from it. And I can't even begin to tell you how many new patients have called their office. And I could show you, you know, the thread, there's about 80 comments on there of people saying, oh my God, I wonder if this will work for me. Oh my God, like if this could help my daughter, I would be eternally grateful. You know, it was just like these comments, just like it was, and 254 shares, 197 likes. I mean, it was just that telling the story. And I think sometimes we try to make video complicated. Well, what should I talk about? You know what I mean? And, you know, maybe I should use some nervous system charts and all this stuff. Sometimes it's just telling the story. And we all have stories that we can tell. You know, if you've been in practice for any amount of time, you have stories that you can tell, and you can just get on Facebook. Dr. James Judge, which, do you know Dr. James Judge?
Yeah,
He was, yeah, James made a video that has in the last week has had 25,000 views, and it's a video of him adjusting a 5-day-old baby. And in the video, he's just telling the story and talking about why it's important that kids get adjusted. And like I said, 25,000 views, and that wasn't even running a Facebook ad to it. That was just organic views that he posted, that people were like, wow, this guy's adjusting some 5-day-old kid, you know? But we have to be able to step out of our shell to and commit to putting that content out there.
Right, absolutely. That makes